Be ready. Start.
Madam Deputy Chairman, the main question for consideration of this House is whether the increase in the passenger fares and in the freights that has been proposed by the Railway Minister should have the support of this House or not. I have been listening with some interest to the speeches so far made, and they are all unanimous on one point, namely that there should be no increase, particularly so far as the second class passengers are concerned. What we have to decide at present is that those friends who have emphasized their opposition to this levy have also said that in view of our developing economy, in view of our developing industrialization, in view of the fact that there is a greater demand for passenger traffic as well as goods traffic, we have to develop our railway system. We have to see that we increase our lines. We have also to see that we double our lines. We have also to see that the production of the locomotives, wagons, and coaches is increased with greater rapidity. Otherwise, we will not be able to meet the demand of the developing economy. It is also agreed that according to the recommendations of the Pay Commission, we all feel that our workers, our laborers are entitled to DA, which will be to the tune of rupees 12 crores. There are no two opinions about it. It is also demanded that so far as amenities to the workers are concerned regarding their privileges and concessions or the repairs to the stock are concerned, there is very urgent need that we should see that our workers do not strain themselves. An engine driver should not be asked to do work for more than 12 hours. Similarly, others in the railways should also have further concessions so far as leisure, rest, and leave are concerned. It is also agreed and it has been emphatically stressed on all hands that the second class passengers are not getting amenities which they should get. The greater portion of the income comes from the second class passengers, and the position is that they are not getting their dues by way of rest and comfort which are necessary for them. I appreciate that effort is being made that so far as sleeping accommodation and provision of fans to the second class passengers are concerned, something is being done. But this does not touch even the fringe of the problem, and when we see the second class passengers huddled together like cattle, not even having sufficient air to breathe in, we feel that there is something seriously wrong with our railway administration. We have also to see that the shortage that we had about the supply of wagons to the coal mines and to our steel industry is not there. Madam, it is a strange chain of events that the minister who was in charge of steel and who gave statements in a way implying that the railways are not doing their part well is now saddled with that responsibility, and I am sure he must feel double responsibility because he knows how the industry has suffered or was likely to suffer. As the Minister of Steel, he charged the Railway Ministry of not doing things which should have been done. So now these are the problems that we have to meet, and the question arises how to meet them. I quite understand that there could be some economy affected in administration. I could also understand that by tightening the administration and seeing that there is not much of ticketless travel, we could improve the position. I could also understand that by taking effective measures regarding the new responsibility which Parliament has placed on the shoulders of the Railway Department, namely the liability of a common carrier for goods for which they have provided rupees 2 crores, and by having all these things in mind there could be some reduction in expenditure. But I do not think that reduction would be of a value sufficient to meet the increasing demands of the railways. That is the problem. It is true that it will be hard to increase any fare. It would be hard to increase any freight. We do realize and we do appreciate it, and as representatives of the people, we do feel every day that our people are being taxed more and more. As regards freight, madam, my own view is that so far as food articles are concerned, this proposal should be modified just as there has been a modification in the case of giving encouragement for exports and in certain other respects. Similarly, I feel that so far as food articles are concerned, the proposal should be modified, and on the other things, these freights may continue as proposed. In this way, the danger that has been pointed out by honorable members, and to a certain extent correctly, that if the prices of food articles go up, that would create difficulty, would be avoided. Mr. Vice Chairman, knowing the honorable mover of this resolution to be a good parliamentarian, I had expected that he would place before the House all sides of this problem. I had expected that he would be no less interested in the efficiency and discipline of the administration, no less interested in the public welfare than in the interest of the civil services. But I am sorry to observe that he has taken only one view of the matter, namely the interests of the civil services alone. He has not at all dwelt upon the frightful consequences which a strike of the sort we had the misfortune to have would have had on the country and the people in general. He has spoken, no doubt, in measured tones, unlike the honorable member who sat to his right in the morning and who raised a shout wanting to make up by sound what his arguments lacked in force. I wish to submit to this house that it would be incorrect and it would be imprudent for this house to accept this resolution. It would be incorrect because by accepting this resolution, we would be laying down something bad in principle, and we would also be accepting a policy which would be suicidal and which would cut at the roots of discipline in the services to the merits of reinstatement or otherwise of these persons. I will come later on. I doubt the very propriety of Parliament going into this matter. Now let us see what has happened. Whether right or wrong, departments have taken up the question of these strikers, those who took part in this strike, those who indulged in disobeying the ordinance. Several cases of sabotage and intimidation, including criminal ones, have been gone into, and the authorities have taken some decision. In some cases, the government have taken the decision, and in some cases, the departments have taken the decision. Now, would it be right for Parliament to intervene, to interfere with these decisions? Suppose we do that. Suppose Parliament interfered with the decisions taken by the government or by the heads of departments. Tomorrow, with what face and with what authority can the head of a department extract service from his subordinates? This is the question which the Honorable, the mover, must see, and also the other honorable members who have spoken in support of the resolution. Unemployment is mounting up, and we have not been able to generate enough employment opportunities to provide even for those people who are entering the labor market today, perhaps to the extent envisaged during the 10th plan. The point that I want to make is that it is not quite justifiable to take only one aspect of the 10th plan period, namely the exigencies of capital mobilization, out of the context of the general economic situation in the country. When we are therefore making this huge tax effort, we will have to apply our mind with equal seriousness, if not more, to see that the income generation in the community is as great as is envisaged, so that the savings and investments could be effected without disturbing unnecessarily the consumption pattern in the community. Whenever there is any tax on corporations, this cry is raised, and this cry is always belied by what the industrialists themselves have claimed to be the sensitive barometer to find out the climate for capital formation. I mean the stock exchanges. This time the stock exchanges have reached quite favorably to the budget proposals as a whole, which clearly shows that whatever else may be the merit of the present budget proposals, it is certainly not anti-capital. Last year also, the stock markets boomed up after the taxation proposals were announced. This time, though they were a little hesitant at first, ultimately, I think they have realized that there is nothing wrong with the taxation proposals, and they are now merrily mounting up. This is quite natural because there are so many benefits and advantages in our economy today that it is not difficult for the corporate sector to absorb a small rise of 5% in the corporation tax, which has been proposed by the Honorable Finance Minister. The economy of the nation today is more or less a closed economy because due to the lack of external finances, imports have been virtually prohibited. There is a lot of planning in the country which makes risk bearing rather unlikely, and because of the regulation of the economy, internal competition is also not very great. The risk bearing capacity, which is claimed by the industrialists, really forgetting large profits and large yields on their investment, is almost non existent in our economy today. Our markets are expanding very fast, and the money generated is much more than the production of commodities, with the result that there are shortages is almost every commodity. It should not be difficult for the industrialists to absorb the small rise of 5% in the corporate tax.